Hello. Can you see me? And can you hear me? I have no idea how any of this works. Someone type something. Hello. Can you see me, people? Fantastic. Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining. So, um, as you as you probably know, I've held off on doing a live for a very long time because I am horrifically nervous about doing one. But Christmas Day felt like an appropriate day to do one because I know that there are, potentially there are people out there who haven't got anything on today on Christmas Day who are alone for whatever reason. So I thought it would be a nice thing to do one today to say thank you to all of you for your support of the channel over the last year or so. Um, and it's something I haven't said. I don't think I've done a video about this or really mentioned it in a video, but we went through. So the channel achieved two big milestones in the last couple of weeks. So 20,000 subscribers and 1 million views, which is incredible. I had no idea when I started the channel that it would get anywhere near this successful, and everyone who watches the channel is a part of that success. So, a huge thanks to all of you for watching the videos, for liking the videos, and for engaging in the comments. That's the comments are incredibly important to me, and really that's the reason why I make the videos is to chat with people in the comments, to chat about books. Like a lot of people on BookTube, I started the channel because I wanted to talk to people about books, and there weren't many people in my real life that I could chat to about books. So it's fantastic to have made connections with so many people out there. Um, so firstly, then I guess after that preamble, so Merry Christmas. So if you celebrate Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to all of you out there. This is a bit of a basic live stream today. I did try and get a StreamYard account set up, but you have to set it up 24 hours before you do the stream. And I didn't manage to do that. So my StreamYard account will be active in about an hour. So I thought we'd just do the basic YouTube style for this one. And then if this goes well and I don't completely lose my shit on it for some reason, then we'll do, when I do the next one, I'll do it with StreamYard. Wow, and there's a lot of people on. I can't even tell how many people are on, but there are a lot of you. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining. So firstly, so when I put the, well, actually, so most importantly, anyone here who's in the US or Canada, hope you're safe. Hope it's not too incredibly cold there. It sounds like it's pretty horrific. Hope you are all keeping safe, keeping warm, looking out for people you may know who might be vulnerable. It does sound like it's particularly bad out there at the moment. So where I am in the UK, it's pretty mild. It's a bit wet today, but it's not cold by any means. So hope it's not too bad wherever you are. Because yeah, it does sound from the news over here like it's pretty bad. Apology, I'm trying to keep up with the chat, but struggling to because there's too many messages. So I will continue. So when I originally put this up yesterday, I put it up as a kind of Hangout / reading sprints. What I wanted to do, if I can figure out how to do it, is just do a poll and see if people want to do reading sprints or just want to chat. So let me create the poll. We will let all of you decide whether we do a sprint or two or whether we just hang out and chat. Hopefully that poll is now visible to you. So I'll leave it up for a couple of minutes and people can vote on it. but before, so whilst we're waiting for that, shout in the comments if anybody got any books for Christmas. So I've got a few here. So I have got um, The Devil Takes You Home by Habino Iglesias, which I really want to read. Everyone I know who's read this has raved about it. So really looking forward to that one. And also got 3 Sarah Graham books. So I think these are the first 2 of the Claire DeWitt mysteries, which I really am looking forward to reading. I loved Come Closer, her possession novel, and then also got her new one, the Book of the Most Precious Substance. So really looking forward to all of those. So shout in the comments if you got any books for Christmas. I'm expecting a few from my parents as well. Not managing to see them today for various reasons, but hoping to see them early in the new year. And I think they've got a few for me, including, I'm hoping, Aliens Vasquez, which I really, really want to read and completely forgot to buy before I started the Read What You Own challenge. So I was very annoyed at myself for not getting that. But it's fantastic to see so many people here. It looks like there are 62 people here, which is incredible. I didn't expect there to be nearly that many people. So it's really, really lovely to see all of you here. So what are people? So Daniel got the new James Patterson. Sorry about that, Daniel. What else have we got? Oh, Greg got some theatre tickets. That's very nice. Did someone say? I think someone said they got some Stephen Kings. I can't see that comment now. Oh, so John at Vintage Horror Line got 2 Jack Ketchums. Oh, one of which you've already got, but hey, at least you got 1 new Jack Ketchum. Oh, Des got Heat 2. Now, I don't think I've said this on the channel, and people will throw up their arms in amazement and disgust at this comment. But I actually walked out of Heat in the cinema. I couldn't stand it. I was completely bored and couldn't be bothered to sit through a whole 3 hours of it. So, I actually left the cinema. I think it's the only film I've ever walked out of. So I'm not queuing up to read Heat 2, but I know people who have read it have really enjoyed it. So let's have a look at the poll. So it looks like the vast majority of people want to just chat. So we will just chat. That's fine. So I will try and keep up with the comments and see what I can pull out of them. I can't do the thing that people do where you can like highlight comments so everyone can see them. Because I didn't get my StreamYard set up in time, but hopefully if I do this again, I will manage to do that then. So someone's getting Drawing Blood by Poppy Bright. I don't think I've heard of that one. So I'm really keen to read some more Bright after reading Exquisite Corpse. Andrea got Pictures by Tolkien by Christopher Tolkien. Okay. I've not heard of that one. And is that one of JRR's sons/grandsons, I presume? Oh, Brian Keane gave John writing advice. That's interesting. Duncan's asking how much of Heat I watched before I walked out. I think probably about an hour. Quite a bit. Oh, MJ got the Aliens book. Hey, Crystal, Merry Christmas. Oh, someone got a Kindle. Fantastic. Let's just scroll through the rest of the comments. Maybe we'll chat for sort of half an hour or so, and then do a 15-minute sprint. If there are some people who want to do sprints as well. It's not Christmas yet for Jim. So someone asked if I'd read the Suki Stackhouse books. I haven't. I haven't read any of the Suki Stackhouse books. So I did watch the first 2 or 3 seasons of True Blood, and quite enjoyed it, and I've been meaning to pick them up and read them at some time. I have got 3 of I've forgotten the name of the author of the Suki Stackhouse books now, but I've got 3 of her mysteries, um, which I can't. I think a couple of them are in a series called the Shakespeare series. Um, so I've got a couple of those. Um, oh, Fusion X looks like we've got someone who needs booting. Oh, someone got their first Abominable Book Club box. Fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it. Cool. Okay. Thank you, Bass, for taking care of that spammer. Um, so, yeah, so Suki Taka. So, yeah, I haven't read any of those, but I have, as I say, I have got some of her crime books, which I haven't read yet, but I've been meaning to read. I was going to read them for March Mystery Madness, I think it was this year, but I just didn't get to them. But they're really short, so I do need to read some of them soon. Unfortunately, I've just set my what I'm probably going to be reading for my next 50 books. So I've got a video going up tomorrow, which is 50 books I want to read before I'm 50. And it's not long till I'm 50. So I'm going to have to knuckle down and read those 50 books before I read anything else, I think. Oh, wow. Henry got a book by Emmerich Pressburger. I didn't know that Pressburger write books. I really like some of the Powell and Pressburger films, so that's fantastic. Oh, Charlene Harris, thank you, Swapgas76. Oh, someone got some Ian M. Banks. So Ian M. Banks is, I don't know if people have watched I did a video ages ago, like as part of my library tour of all my Ian Banks books. And I've read quite a lot of Ian Banks books, but hardly any Ian M. Banks. I think I've only read the first one. So yeah, I need to get on. I've got a load of the Ian M. Banks books, but I haven't read them. Miguel's asking, are there any Latin American authors I like? I'm trying to think. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I do really want to read 2666 or whatever it's called by Bolano. I really, really want to read that. But again, just haven't got to it yet. Cajun Peach is saying Shakespeare's Landlord was my first Charlene Harris books. Yes, that's one. I'm pretty sure that's one of the ones I've got. John's asking if I like Dean Koontz. I'm still not sure if I like Dean Koontz or not. I've read many Dean Koontz books over the years. So like in my teens and 20s, I read tons of Dean Koontz. But I have struggled a bit with him recently. It feels like he's turned into someone who is very preachy nowadays, which I don't particularly like. So I am trying, as I'm reading the Odd Thomas books at the moment, for various reasons. Hello, Nadine. Merry Christmas. I'm reading the Odd Thomas books at the moment, and I'm going to read the whole series. But I have to say, the first 2, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy about. They were okay, but they weren't fantastic. Oh, Kevin's asked if I've read any of the Pendergast series. I think you asked that in a comment as well, Kevin, that I haven't managed to reply to yet, or someone did anyway. I've read them right at the start. So I read Relic and Reliquary, which I think are both part of that series. They're certainly by the same authors, and enjoyed both of those. And I've got one of them on my shelf somewhere. I can't remember which one it is, but I haven't got round. I haven't read them for ages, so I haven't read them since around the time Relic the movie came out. It was like that long ago. Okay, Leslie is asking, have I read any Christmas horror books? Not really. I don't think I've read many. I read one. So Ed Lorne, the indie author, published a horror short story called, I can't remember what it was called, but it had Santa in the title. He published self-published that a couple of years ago as like a Christmas freebie, and I read that, and that was quite fun. But I don't think I've read many apart from that. Apart from Nosferatu, the Joe Hill one, I've read that. I think that's about it. Crystal got every time we meet at the Dairy Queen, your whole fucking face explodes, which I have read. It's the only Carlton Melick book I've read, and I really, really enjoyed it. I do need to read more by him. It was very strange, but quite entertaining. Right, let me try and go through questions as they come up. So if you've already asked a question and I've missed it, then feel free to ask it again. So John's asked my overall opinion on Richard Layman. My overall opinion on Richard Layman is sometimes I really like him, and sometimes I think he's awful, and I can't decide. It varies book by book with him, and I think he's wildly inconsistent in terms of his quality. But I think I also need to be in the right mood when I'm reading Richard Layman, and I'm often not in the right mood. But I have got a stack of them that I need to read or reread. Works in Progress asked, have you read any Tana French? No, I haven't. Or I did start reading The Witch Elm, I think it was, which I think I got from NetGalley, and I didn't get on with it. I found it a bit too slow. Secret Santa, that was it, Sarah. Thank you. I found it a bit too slow, but I've got The Searcher. I've got a hardcover of The Searcher up there somewhere, and I've got a couple of other books of hers or theirs, because it's actually a husband and wife team, isn't it, on my Kindle, and I will get to them at some point. So yeah, Tana French is an author I want to try again, but yeah, I haven't got around to yet. Rabbi Fred is shoveling, so sorry about that, Fred. Sounds like the snow is bad where you are. Paul's asked, have you read any Tim Powers books? The only Tim Powers book I've read is the Anubis Gates, which I read years ago, like 30 years ago or something like that. And I really, really liked it. And I'm meaning to read more. I'm meaning to read more by him. I've got On Stranger Tides on my Kindle, so I'm definitely going to read that at some point. But yeah, I love the Anubis Gates. I thought it was a fantastic book. Where are we? Have I read any Charlie Parker books? Yes. So again, Sam, so I read the Charlie Parker books years and years ago. Like, when was it? I remember at the time I was working in a nursing home, and one of the residents was called Charlie Parker, which amused me. So it must have been like 25 years ago. I've got a load of them on my Kindle. I don't know if you can still get them, but you could get like cheap, like omnibus editions of them. So I've got a few of them, which I need to read at some point. So I want to reread the first few, which I've already read, and then continue on with the series. Crystal's asked, is this a Christmas sweater? Yes, it is. It's my only Christmas sweater. I've only got one because I feel like you only need one because it's only Christmas once a year. So this came from Marks and Spencer's. So a good sort of traditional British Christmas sweater. It's a bit warm, actually. I almost feel like I should take it off, but I won't. But yeah, this is my only Christmas jumper. But yeah, it's got sort of a festive pattern and robins on it. Right, where have we got to with the questions? Emily, hope it's not too cold there. Mark Palmer, so I haven't read any Adam Neville. I've got 2 Adam Neville books. I've got No One Gets Out Alive on my Kindle, and I've got Cunning Folk in paperback, and I'm going to be reading Cunning Folk soon. In fact, in the next couple of months, probably. So I will find out what I think of him. But he's an author I'm very aware that I should have read and haven't yet. So I'm really looking forward to reading some of his stuff soon. Right. Let's see if there's any other questions. I think I've got through all the questions. So feel free to ask more questions if people have got them. I've just watched Glass Onion last night, so I need to watch that. But I haven't watched Knives Out yet. So my wife and I are planning to watch both of them at some point over the Christmas break. Oh, that's a shame, Duncan. That your neighbour beat you to it, shoveling the driveway. Merry Christmas, Mark. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Sarah Rounds asked, have I read The Loney? Yes, I read The Loney 2 or 3 years ago and really, really liked it. I've got Starvacre by the same author on my Kindle, which I need to get to at some point. But it's yeah, I loved the Lonely. I thought it was really, really atmospheric and really creepy. Um, Michael's asked about the state of our washing machine. So the washing machine is still broken. So the washing machine initially broke, I think, about 3 weeks ago, and it took like a week for someone to come out and look at it, and they didn't have the right part. So somebody came on the 23rd and fixed it apparently. So replaced the pump, which they said was the problem, and turned it on, and it seemed to be working. And then he went away, so we've got a mountain of washing. So I put the washing machine on straight away, um, and we had exactly the same problem. About halfway through the wash, you get this error message and it just stops. So what we've managed to do is it got to the point in the wash where it's washed the clothes, but it hasn't like properly drained. So what we found is if you leave it for a bit and then just put it on a spin, it works. So you kind of have to do the washing in two halves. So that's fun. This is really interesting. This is really interesting stuff. And the fridge is broken as well now, and it feels like the freezer's going too. So we're eating we're eating as much food as we can, which is an appropriate thing to do at Christmas anyway, so that it doesn't spoil. Um, but yes, the white goods situation in in this house is not great at the moment. And no, Greg, I didn't sacrifice it for sorcery. Um, have you read any Darwin Cook Parker graphic novels? I don't think I have. No. Is that Parker as in the um, who's the Parker? Is that Parker as in the character that's in? Is it Point Blank? Parker's in. Okay, someone else is asking favorite Christmas books and movies. So I don't really have a favorite Christmas horror book because I haven't read that many. Um, favorite Christmas horror movie, I think, is Gremlins, which I love. Just think Gremlins is a wonderful, wonderful film. What's the book there? Yeah, I love Gremlins, and we did watch it with Bass, my son, when he was quite a bit younger, um, and he really enjoyed it as well. So, and this morning, he and I, because my wife's at work today, she works in a dementia home, um, so we have, funnily enough, watched Die Hard this morning. So we watched Die Hard over lunch. So I got a load of frozen food yesterday. Um, and we ate things like little mini pizza parcels and sausage rolls and things like that. And it was fantastic. And we watched Die Hard. And we're going to watch. I see Andrew's here. After the live stream, we're going to watch Elves, I think, and see if it's as bad as you claim it is. But yes, Die Hard was a lot of fun. Miguel's asking, do I have any Mario Vargas Llosa books on my TBR? No, I don't. He's not an author I've ever been that interested in reading, but I will check them out if they're good. No, Jessica, there wasn't a book about a washing machine. It was just my ongoing saga of the washing machine. But yes, Die Hard we really enjoyed. Although we did spot when we were, and it never really occurred to me before how many um, like I'm trying to think of the word, like stereotypes and things like that it uses, like the kind of, like all the Europeans in it are dodgy, like untrustworthy, which is a typical like Hollywood stereotype of Europeans. So there did seem to be lots of strange things in it like that. And also we spotted there's a bit, so the bit where near the end where the FBI are in the helicopter, and what's he called? Robert Davies got the sniper rifle, and it's dark, and he puts on a like a baseball cap backwards, for like no apparent reason at all other than to look cool. So we thought we did find that quite amusing. But yes, glad to see everyone likes Gremlins. The other great thing about Gremlins, of course, is that it has one of the greatest actors of all time in it, Dick Miller, as Mr. I think he's called Mr. Futterman, the guy who drives the snowplow. Um, he's fantastic. I do really like Dick Miller. Um, What else have we got? So other Christmas movie recommendations. I haven't seen Silent Night. I am I'm quite intrigued by Violent Night, the new action movie that's just come out with Father Christmas. It's like Die Hard with Father Christmas, isn't it? Um, have I read any Christmas romance books? Funnily enough, I did just read a Christmas romance book, which is an unpublished book. Um, but hopefully it will come out soon. So a book called Checked Out, which is by someone I know through work, which was a kind of Christmassy rom-com set in Edinburgh, which I really enjoyed. It was really fun. It's not the kind of book I normally read, and when I have read romance in the past, it's tended to be like category romance. Um, and this wasn't. This was more sort of contemporary romance, I suppose. But I really enjoyed it. Um, Miguel's asking, "What's the funniest book or movie you like?" I tend to find movies funnier than books. Um, so in terms of like guilty pleasure movies, one film that always cracks me up, and I'm almost ashamed to say it cracked me up, is Billy Madison, the Adam Sandler film where he has to go back to school, um, which is a terrible film, but I do find very, very funny. I think that early Adam Sandler films are fantastic. Um, So Jessica's reading The Cellar, which was it was just a very strange book, which I just recently read. Um, so we've got someone else who needs booting. Bass, if you got your booting finger ready. Um, Kay's asking what's everyone's number one book of the year. Um, I think I can't decide. So I've done my 3 top 10 lists recently. So I did top 10 horror, top 10 crime, and um, top 10 not horror or crime. I'm trying to remember what my 3 favorite books were. I think it was Terror was the horror. Um, it's terrible. I can't remember what my favorite crime book was now. Can anyone remember? Can you put it in the chat if you can remember? I think my favorite book is probably Moby Dick, though, because Moby Dick was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't get over quite how much I enjoyed it. Works in Progress is asking, has pecan pie across the pond? Yes, so you can get pecan pie over here, but it's not like a big thing. But many American foods you can get over here now. They've kind of just come through over here by osmosis, I guess. Um, and pecan pie you can get to the extent we've even started calling macaroni cheese is what we used to call it when I was a kid, but people now call it mac and cheese, like you call it in America, for some reason. But yeah, pecan pie you can get. Is there a Christmas version of Scotch eggs? No, not that I'm aware of. Pork pie is a big thing at Christmas. People do have Scotch eggs at Christmas because, just as kind of party food. Although we didn't have any today. I should have got some Scotch eggs, actually. Right. Next question from Steve. Hi, Merry Christmas. Just wondering, have you ever DNF'd a book that you wanted to finish? I'm struggling through the 3-body problem. I struggle with the 3-body problem as well. I only managed about 20 pages of it and then stopped it. I have DNF books I wanted to finish, but have always ended up going back to them at some point. What's the Donna Tartt book? The Secret History is a great example of that. So it took me 3 goes to read that book. I just wasn't in the right mood for it the first 2 times. But when I finally sat down and seriously read it, I absolutely loved it. I got there in the end with that one. Right, what people's top 10 books? So Crystal's is Exquisite Corpse, which I did really enjoy. Miguel's was Perfume. So I read Perfume years and years and years ago, but I remember really loving it. Jim's was Once Upon a River. So yeah, I watched your video earlier, Jim. Kay's was My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I read. Sorry, not Kay's, Sarah's, which I read a little while ago and really enjoyed. Leslie's was Once There Were Wolves. Is that by Gemma Moore, Leslie? Or am I thinking of a different book? Oh, and Duncan's reminded me that the Derek Roman Factory series was my favourite crime series, my favourite crime book of the year. That might be my favourite, actually. I think that series as a whole probably just about trumps Moby Dick because it was fantastic. Mia's favourite book was Paperbacks from Hell, which I still haven't read. Um, I've been meaning to read. It's one of those books I've been meaning to pick up for ages, and one of the reasons I haven't is that John, go to bed. It's too late. you you don't have to worry. Just go to bed and get some sleep. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, half 2 in the morning where John is in Australia. So please, John, go to bed. So yeah, so Paperbacks from Hell. I've been meaning to read for ages, and the only reason I haven't is I used to have a huge and really quite complete collection of British like paperback horror novels from the like 70s and 80s that I built up over the years. And at some point I had to just sell it all because we just didn't have room for it. It was when my wife and I first moved in together, we were in a 1 bedroom flat and I had like boxes and boxes of books and just couldn't keep them, and my parents couldn't keep them at their house anymore. So I had to sell them all, and I suspect that many of the books I sold are in paperbacks from hell. So it feels like it would be a bit of a bittersweet experience for me reading it. So where have we got to? So the Dean couldn't finish the Three-Body Problem either. I do struggle with sci-fi sometimes. I think it's if the concepts are too much, then I do struggle with them a little bit. I find sometimes the science can get in the way of the story. Heloise's said, "What's the movie Housebound? Terror and extremely fun. I truly recommend it." I don't think I've heard of that one. I'll have to look out for that. So Andrew's favourite book was The Red Palace by June Her. I don't think I've heard of that one. Greg's favourite rereads were The Rats and the Slugs, both absolute classics. I think The Slugs is slightly my favourite over The Rats, only because it's even more disgusting. But yeah, big fan of both of those. So CO1's favourite book was Station 11. So Station 11 is fantastic. So I read that like years and years ago, but I do agree it's an absolutely fantastic book. And I read The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel recently as well, and that was very good too. Oh no, someone's had a dodgy. So the middle place has had a dodgy boiler for 3 years. That is not good. So very sorry to hear that. Status Boom X is on. Thank you for all your support. Your encouraging comments are always really, really appreciated. Anne's here as well. Ho, 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 Anne. So Kay's favourite book was A Little Life. I agree. So I don't know if I actually cried at A Little Life, but I certainly came close. That was a very grueling book. Yeah, but incredible, an incredible work of fiction. I thought it was really brilliant. Thank you, Leslie. Maybe I don't know if I'm thinking of if that's the book I'm thinking of, or if there's a Gemma Moore book with a similar title. Or the Signal one. I've heard of the Signal one, but I've never watched that. As if Jessica's cold in Texas. Miguel's asked, are you familiar with polyphonic storytelling? No, I'm not. I've got no idea what that is. The Bad Seed sounds very intriguing from your video on it, Greg. I do need to read that at some point. Dr. Google's favourite book is Silver Screen, edited by David J. Show. So I've not read that one. I think I've got. Did he write the? I have to look at my shelves. Yeah, I've got the Kilriff by him on my shelves, which I read years ago, and have been meaning to read again. Anne's recommending Orpheus Builds a Girl, which, if you're in the UK, was on a deal on Kindle the other day. I don't know if it still is. Rick is asking if anyone's read any of the Carter Brown books. I haven't. The name rings a bell, but I definitely haven't read any of them. Um, Thank you, Andrew. Um, well, I'm not sure if I'm good at them or not, but people seem to be the number of people watching seems to be going up rather than down, so I guess that's good. Um, uh, Arlene's asking, have I read any Thorne Smith? A forgotten comedy novelist from the 30s. No, I haven't. I've heard of Topper. 'Cause isn't there a Hitchcock film of Topper? Well, there's definitely a film with Topper, isn't there? But yes, I've never read him. Um, Jeff's asking, have I read any Brian Evanson? I think I've got some Brian Evanson. The name rings a bell, but I haven't read them. But I'm pretty sure I've got a couple of his books on my Kindle. Um, I can't remember what they're called now. Did he write one that's like a sort of slightly giallo-ish? Um, yeah, I've definitely got some, but I don't think I've read them. So Swamp favourite of the year was Seven Moons of Mal Almeida. Um, that does sound good. Yeah, I remember reading about that when it won the Booker. Michael's asked if I'm still reading the Gore books. I haven't stopped reading the Gore books, um, but I haven't read one for a couple of months. Um, so yes, I will. I'm certainly intending to continue reading them, and I've got the next 10 or so, I think. So I'll probably um, I probably will continue with them, but maybe one a month was pushing it a bit. But I do quite like the idea of Gore-Temba, Andrew. Um, Jessica's asking, do you plan to read Dead Inside in the new year? I will do, but possibly after I've read the 50 books I need to read before I'm 50. Although I've got 4 months to do that, so I can probably fit it in there because Dead Inside is quite short. Okay. Oh, and Novella's pointing out that the Hitchcock film was Topaz. I'm sure Topper has someone. Maybe it's got a famous actor in it then. But I'm definitely aware of the film. Heloise is saying about the shelf. There was a time I thought the shelf was just a fake background. And no, it's real. As you can see me opening the doors. I could even get a random book off the shelves for people. Yes, the shelves are real. I have to say, I thought Alex at the Bookkeepers. I always assumed her background was real, but that is green screen apparently. But I think it used to be real, and now she uses green screen instead. Um, uh, Kay's asking, how's the Kindle Scribe going? Yeah, I love it. I'm still really, really enjoying reading on it. I'm not using it for notes that much, if I'm honest. But reading on it is an absolute joy. In fact, I've been reading on it this morning. And it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. I absolutely love reading on it. Cary Grant was in Topper. I knew so. I knew there was some famous connection with it. Right, where have I got to? Dr. Gould's favourite book title is The Platypus of Doom and Other Nihilists by Arthur Byron Cover. That is quite an intriguing title, definitely. Crystal doesn't know any of these books. So Crystal, if people don't know, is a romance booktuber. But yes, great to see you here, Crystal. Even if you don't know any of the books I'm talking about, and I will read that book that you recommended. I can't remember what it was called now. About the it was like a shifter romance with a Minotaur character or something like that, wasn't it? I think. Right, where have I got to? Oh, Prantix asking best Walter Mosley book according to you. I think I couldn't pick one of them as a favourite, but the three Socrates Fortlow books I think are absolutely phenomenal. I'd probably say the first one, which is Always Outnumbered, Always Outgunned, I would probably say is the best, but they are all absolutely brilliant. Oh, Celeste here. Hello, Celeste. So Miguel's asking, what can you recommend to someone that likes particularly brutal crime thrillers? So I would say the Derek Raymond books. If you've if you've not read that one, or not read those, trying to think who else. I tell you who else actually. Sean Hudson. When he does crime books, they're pretty good and incredibly brutal. Miguel, so definitely check out Sean Hudson's later books, which tend to be just ridiculously horrific, but very entertaining as well. So I'm reading June. So I need to reread June. I haven't read it since I was a teenager, but I've got all of them, I think, on my Kindle. So really looking forward to diving into those again. And I think I only ever read the first one. I don't think I even read June Messiah. So yeah, definitely looking forward to reading those at some point. Oh, Alan's here. Hello, Alan. Erin's finally finished The Happy Hooker. That was quite a book. I still remember it more vividly than I care to, if I'm honest, despite having read it all the way back in August. I think, in fact, I can't remember if I read it during Garb August or before Garb August, but it was fantastic. Jessica's asking, how many books do I have? I don't know. More than I should. These shelves are double stacked, so the top ones aren't because they've got hardbacks on, but these lower ones are, and behind me they go all the way down to the floor. So there are like mass market size paperbacks behind them, yeah. So I don't know how many I've got, but a lot, and I've still got some in the attic as well. And then I've also got like 2,500 on my Kindle, so I've got many books, but I don't know quite how many. Right. Where have we got to? I'm having to scroll back up through there. Oh, Sarah's here. Hello, Sarah. I hope you're feeling better now. Merry Christmas. Read by Fred's asking, do you find the scribe heavy or cumbersome after an hour or so of evening reading? So, the way I tend to read with the scribe is I've got a cover for it now. I haven't got it here, it's downstairs. I've got a cover for it now, which is one of those origami covers that you can kind of fold back on itself so it props it up. So I tend to just have it propped up on my lap and not actually holding it. But those work, but that works really well as just a way of reading. So just having it propped up on my lap, but you can hold it and it doesn't get it's lighter than a lot of books, so it doesn't feel too heavy. But having said that, in bed I read on my paperwhite, so I tend to use the scribe when I'm reading downstairs, and then use the paperwhite for reading in bed or if I'm on the train or whatever. MJ's asking, are you reading any graphic novels at the moment? Santa got me From Hell. So I have read From Hell, but years and years ago. I'm not reading any at the moment, although I read the first installment or the first volume of Attack on Titan. So I need to continue reading that. So I'm not kind of actively reading at the moment, but do need to carry on with it. Jim's asking what BookTube events are scheduled for January. I don't know. I don't know if anyone from the BookTube bulletin board wants to put something in the chat. I did see there's a Brooklyn a BookTube bulletin board video that's just gone up in the last couple of days. I haven't managed to watch it yet. Alan likes my sweater. Thank you, Alan. I thought I'd put that on for Christmas Day. Oh, Dr. Gould's recommended Michael Slade. So yeah, Michael Slade is a great suggestion, actually. I've read the first probably 4 or 5 of the what they called Special X books, and they're really good, really good mix of like police procedural type of crime and horror. Right, I am struggling to keep up. Where have I got to? Miguel says, I'm like a walking, talking recommendation algorithm for pulp. Thank you very much. Tender is the Flesh was definitely icky, Clara. Completely agree. I really enjoyed it, but it was unpleasant at times. Crystal's pumped for Garb August 2.0. So am I. I am considering. So, given that we've got people here, I've just seen Andrew's comment, which we'll get to in a minute. I am considering doing Garb August 1.5. So I was thinking about maybe doing a Garb August weekend in February, because I'm conscious there are a lot of people subscribed to the channel now who weren't watching me for Garb August last year or this year, because it's only after that the channel really took off. So I thought I might do a weekend in February as kind of a Garb August 1.5 weekend to get people kind of familiar with what the concept of Garb August is. So let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea or not. I thought, yeah, maybe we could just do a Garb August weekend where people just read one garbage book. Right, where have we got to? An Erudite Adventures just got up. Hello, Merry Christmas. Feel free to go and get on with your day. I know a lot of people are very busy today, of all days. Right, sorry, I'm struggling. There's too many comments. Kay's saying she doesn't hold her scribe easier. But yeah, you're right. You don't need to hold it to read on it. Partly because it's so big. And Andrew said, scribe in the streets, paperweights in the sheets, which is terrible. And Alice, you're right. Yeah, Garb August will be even trashier. I don't quite know how we're going to make it trashier than it was last year or this year even, but we will manage. One of the things I didn't do for it this year that I wanted to do, and I may try and do it now, is get someone on what's it called? What's it called? Cameo. I want to try and get a B-list or Z-list celebrity on Cameo to do a welcome to Garb August little clip for us. So I'll see if I can find someone that I can afford and who I can persuade to do that for Garb August 2.0. Right, where have I got to? Rex Miller, yes. So Resmini, so I read some of those. I read at least a couple of those like years and years ago. And quite enjoyed them, I have to say. What was it? Slob. The Slob was, or was it? No, it was just Slob, wasn't it? Was the Rex Miller one? So yes, that was a lot of fun. In the Miso Soup, I've been meaning to read. I definitely need to read that one. I've heard lots of good things about that. Hello in India, Boogeyman. Thank you very much for checking in. What time is it there? It must be early evening there, I guess. So is it sort of 8:30ish, something like that, 9:30? People seem to like the idea of a Garb August weekend, so that's good. Hi, Courtney. Merry Christmas. Teabag Dubeck. So Thor and Dearest, both fantastic books. I really enjoyed both of those, particularly Thor. I still think about Thor, and I am meaning to. I'm going to reread it at some point because I loved it that much. Kay's pointed out that we're missing the King's Speech. So yes, I didn't realise that when I scheduled this. I completely like didn't cross my mind that now is when the King's Speech done. Well, it's the first time he's ever done the King's Speech, clearly, but it's the first time it's ever been live. It's always been pre-recorded before. So thank you all for joining this rather than rather than watching the King's Speech. Andrew's going to see if he can take a break from reading trashy books in order to fit different trashy books for February. So that's fantastic. Duncan's offered to chip in for a cameo. No need. I can use some. I can use some cash from the that I'm getting through the channel for that. But thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Status Boomx. I'm trying to keep up, but you're right. It is a struggle. There was a Voxer. So for Garb August this year, there was a Voxer group that we used for. So there were 13 people who were hosts of like host or co-host Garble Fest, and we did have a Voxer group for them. Well, but really just for coordinating announcement videos and things like that, and coming up with like the bingo board and that kind of thing. We mostly used my Discord for kind of actual discussions about books that as people were reading. So I think that's probably what I'll do again this year. But need to work through. I mean, obviously we've got a bit of time to work through the logistics of it all. But it will probably mostly be on Discord. Sorry to hear you're on your own, Dr. Gould, but hopefully you're enjoying the chat here. My son Sebastian is suggesting we get Nigel Farage to do the cameo. I think Nigel Farage might be too trashy, even for Garb August. So Litjitsu's asked, do I have a favourite Scandinavian Nordic noir novel or author? And the answer to that is, at the moment, no. Although I tell you who I do like, actually, although I've only read one book of his and need to read more, and that's John, and I'm going to mispronounce his name, but John Alvide Lindqvist. I've got, so one of the books I'm going to be reading for my 50 books to read before I'm 50 is the first of the Martin Beck books. So I will be like digging into the Martin Beck books soon and seeing what I think of those. But I've not read an awful lot of Scandinavian or Nordic noir. I've read an Icelandic one a little while ago, but I didn't particularly take to that. Right. Alan's asking, have I looked at the Illuminatus trilogy yet? I read the first couple of pages and wasn't really feeling it, if I'm honest, Alan. So I will definitely try it again at some point. But yeah, I didn't. I just wasn't in the right mood for it when I picked it up. Nancy's asking, what's my favourite memoir? Golly. Oh, I tell you what, probably or possibly Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman by Richard Feynman, which I thought was fantastic and very funny as well. We've passed 100 people watching. I think we passed 100 people and then went back under 100 people. No, I'm not King Michael, sorry. King of Trash. And so thank you, Jen. Thanks for tuning in if you're still here. I will do, I've enjoyed doing this and hopefully people have enjoyed it as well. So I will do another one in the new year at some point, but maybe with a bit more planning and with StreamYard. Lewis is here. Hey, Lewis, happy Merry Christmas to you too. Hello, BJ. Merry Christmas. Ah, fantastic. Glad you're enjoying the Derek Raymond, Sharon. And hello to you there in Vancouver. I've actually been to Vancouver, albeit it was when I was like 7 or something like that. So it was a very long time ago. And I don't really remember it, apart from the fact we went over something which I think was called the Capilano Suspension Bridge, which I assume is near Vancouver. And I remember it being quite scary. Alan partied with Robert Anton Wilson in the 90s. That's a good that's an interesting fact. Thank you, Nicholas. That's really appreciated. Oh, I've tried the Harry Hole book. So I tried reading the first Harry Hole book, and I just couldn't get on with it for some reason. I don't know why, but I've been meaning to try them again at some point. I did used to have like loads of them in paperback, but yeah, I just for whatever reason I just didn't get on with it. Jeremiah loves DNFing books. It feels like escaping a prison. I completely agree with that. Hi, Alice. Merry Christmas. Enjoyed Danish author Christian Jungerson. I've not heard of that. I'll have to look out for that. Thanks for the recommendation. Duncan, no, the Icelandic Order wasn't Indridson. I can't remember the name of the book or the author. It's one I got from NetGalley, and he's quite a big Ragnarsson or something like that, I think his name was. Andrew's going to try and read some trashy cookbooks. That's an interesting uh, concept. I quite like that. I was thinking for Garb August as well, Andrew, we should do a thing where you watch the movie and then read the novelization rather than reading the book and then watching the movie. So maybe we could do some like some watch parties or something like that for Garb August. Right, I'm going to wrap this up soon because we've nearly been going an hour, and I need a cup of tea and a mince pie. And have we hit 100 likes? We've hit 100 likes as well. So I'm going to give it another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap things up. But thank you everyone for joining. I'm amazed and delighted that we've got so many people on. I really appreciate all of you joining this today, and also just all of your support on the channel. Over the last year and a bit that I've been doing it. As I said at the start, I had no idea it would ever be as big as it's ended up being, and I'm still amazed that people watch my videos. Alan's asking, does Dean Koontz count for Garb August? I think some Dean Koontz does. So I actually read a Dean Koontz book for Garb August this year. I read one of his early books, Night Chills. If you get hold of one of the porn books, so Dean Koontz started his career writing cheap porn. So if you can get hold of one of those, I think they're quite hard to come by now. But if you can get hold of one of those, that would definitely count for Garb August. Right. So let's wrap things up. So thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for all your support. I hope you enjoy the rest of your days, whatever you're doing. For some of you, it's very early. For some of you, it's very late. Very funny, Jim. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. Have a great Christmas. Have a great New Year. I'll be chatting to you all in the comments, I'm sure, and on the Discord if you're on my Discord. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. Lovely to speak to you all today. And yeah, we will do this again soon. Thank you very much, everyone.